I liked it before it was cool. Oh, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Rachel. I do lots of Taylor Swift unboxing videos, Taylor Swift videos, travel videos, vlogs, those sort of things. If that sounds like something that would interest you, it would mean the absolute world to me if you could subscribe. And if you're coming back to the channel, hello, thank you so much for coming back. That's really cool. Today's video is one that people have asked to see from me, and it is more Taylor Swift rankings. People want to know how I rank certain Taylor Swift things, whether it's tours, songs, albums, etc, etc. So I want to make a video ranking them. And today's video is me ranking my top 20 Taylor Swift songs. So I was really tempted to do a video ranking like all of the Taylor Swift songs. I don't know if that's something people would be interested in. It might take a while for me to fully come up with my list, but if that is something you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments. But today I'm just doing my top 20 favourite ones. It was hard to put together this list. Obviously it changes all the time. I feel like whenever you have a favourite Taylor Swift song, it's one song one week, one song another week, and she's always releasing new stuff, which is so great as a fan, so it's also really difficult to kind of decide which your favourite one is. However, I've come up with a list that is currently accurate. Maybe when I posted this video it will suddenly not be accurate anymore, but fingers crossed that it is. But these are my top 20 Taylor Swift songs. So we're going to start off at number 20 and obviously make our way up to number 1, 20 being my least favourite of this top 20 list, number 1 being my most favourite. So at number 20 we have Wildest Dreams. Now obviously I do stream Taylor's version, so if I say a stolen version song in this, I obviously do mean Taylor's version of it because we stream Taylor's version in this house. Wildest Dreams is such a beautiful song. I also adore the music video for it as well. I think it is a very underrated song from 1989. We don't talk enough about Wildest Dreams. Even on the Eras Tour set list, I think it's one that people forget about because it's kind of in between such iconic songs. You know, you've got these really big hits, you know, you've got Shake It Off, Blank Space, Style, and then after it you've got Bad Blood with all the fire. And I think because Bad Blood has all that fire, and on the original version of the set list the surprise songs were just after that, people often forget that Wildest Dreams was ever on the set list. I don't even think it was in the original Eras Tour film either, so she is a very underrated song in the Eras Tour, like as a whole in the Eras Tour set list, but also as part of Taylor's discography. I think, again, it has some of her most beautiful lyrics in it. One of my favourite versions, actually, of this song is the version she did on the 1989 tour, mashed up with Enchanted. I think that version is stunning. It's so, so beautiful. I think Wildest Dreams is just such a beautiful song. I love the fact she uses her heartbeat in it. I love the You See Me in Hindsight, Tangled Up With You All Night, Burning It Down. I think it's so stunning, and I feel like we don't talk about her enough. So even though she's like a single in 1989, I still feel like she's underrated, and obviously she had to make it into my top 20 because she's still beautiful. Now I do want to say there are obviously some very well-known Taylor Swift songs in my top 20, of course, and Wildest Dreams is pretty well known, but I still feel like she's underrated, so I had to say that she's underrated. But I also want to say that if your top 20 or your top 10, your top 5 has like a Taylor Swift song that is like a huge hit, you know, it's Love Story, Shake It Off, Anti-Hero, anything like that, please don't feel like you're any less of a fan. I also really want to clarify, like most of mine are like huge Taylor hits, and I feel like all Taylor Swift songs nowadays are a huge hit as well. You're not any less of a fan because your favourite Taylor song is Shake It Off. And I feel like people sometimes kind of imply that or say that, and I just want to make it very clear to people that you are not less of a fan because of that. Next up, and I feel like this is one that actually is underrated and never talked about, but it's Today Was a Fairy Tale. Yes, the song from Valentine's Day, the film. If you've not seen Valentine's Day, the film, it's great. It is a 12, so please only watch it if you're over the age of 12 or with parental permission, but it is really good. It's the Valentine's Day equivalent, essentially, of Love Actually. Love Actually is a Christmas film and it's 15, so don't watch it if you're below 15, but it's really good. I feel like sometimes when they try to recreate kind of films like Love Actually, they're not that good. I think Valentine's Day is good, and compared to some of the other films that Taylor has been in, probably one of the best alongside the Lorax. So I do really, really love that film, but I also think Today Was a Fairy Tale is just the most perfect kind of love song that you could literally just picture her smiling it while singing it, and that is why I love it so much. I think it's just so happy. It's just such a beautiful love song. Very underrated because obviously it was part of a movie soundtrack, but I do still think it's just so beautiful, so stunning. So if you've not listened to it, go listen to it. It is on Fearless now, so it's on Fearless Taylor's version. Wasn't on the original version of Fearless because obviously it was a song for the Valentine's Day soundtrack. However, it's now on this new version of Fearless, so you can listen to it as part of that. And obviously, as always, make sure to listen to Taylor's version. And I do think because Today Was a Fairy Tale was on Fearless, Taylor's version, I think we could get crazier. I think we could get crazier Taylor's version. Whether it's on debut, I don't know. I feel like it would have made more sense on Fearless Taylor's version, but it could be on debut Taylor's version. Or she could do what she did when she first kind of started the Eras tour, when she released like an EP of Taylor's version songs. So she released Safe and Sound Taylor's version, Eyes Open, and If This Was a Movie Taylor's version, as well as obviously All the Girls You Loved Before. So maybe she could do that with like Crazier. I would also love to see You'll Always Find Your Way Back Home and hear a Taylor Swift version of that. I love that song. I love the Hannah Montana movie. Yes, I'm one of those people. I love the Hannah Montana movie, and I just think that You'll Always Find Your Way Back Home is my favourite song from that film, so I would really, really love if we could have Taylor singing that. You may be thinking, Rachel, why would she sing that? It's because she actually wrote it, so it would make sense that she sung it. She obviously did This Is What You Came For on the Eras tour, and she sung it live before at a couple other occasions as well. That is because she also wrote that song. She doesn't just do like random covers now on tours. She did write that song, and I think because she's sung that a few times, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a Taylor's version of that. I feel like if we did get it, it wouldn't be like a dance kind of track, like a club track, like it currently is with like the Calvin Harris-ness and Rihanna. I feel like maybe it could be like a stripped down version. I think it would make a lot of sense on Reputation Taylor's version. However, I don't mind. I would just love to get like a full version of Taylor singing it, you know, on streaming. Next up is Mary's song, Oh My My My. I feel like this was a very kind of like underrated, lesser known Taylor Swift song, but because of the lyrics with 87 and 89, I think a lot of people now know about it. Taylor obviously loves it more because of that. We obviously have had the Travis Kelce mashup on the Eras tour. Obviously, I don't normally talk about Taylor's like life, like personal life on here and stuff, but I do just want to explain why this has occurred. It's because Taylor is dating Travis Kelce. We do know that. She has talked about it. He's talked about it. His like football number is 87, and obviously she was born in 1989 and wrote 1989, so 89 is a number that is associated with her, and that's why I think people love it so much. But I loved it before that, you know, I liked it before it was cool. Obviously, I'm not one of those people, but I've just always liked it. I think there is a certain genre of Taylor Swift songs where the lyrics are so good at the storytelling, you can almost picture a music video for it, even if there's no music video. I find it with this, Mary's song, Enchanted, The Last Great American Dynasty, Right Where You Left Me. Like, those songs are just so good in terms of the storytelling. You can really picture a music video for it, and I think that's why it's on my top 20 because of that. I think it's so good. I think it's personally my favourite song from debut, and I really, really love her. So yeah, that's why she is what number is she? She's number 17. No, she's not. She's number 18. I can't count. At number 17, we have The Archer. The Archer is another stunning, stunning Taylor Swift song, and I feel like in terms of track vibes, of Taylor's track vibes, is probably one of the most underrated. I feel like people don't talk about it as much. I think because there are sadder songs on Lover. For me personally, the saddest song on Lover is Soon You'll Get Better. I in fact don't actually listen to this. I probably wouldn't know the lyrics for it because I've only listened to it a handful of times because it's so sad, but I do think it is an absolutely stunning song. But like, I tend not to rank that song just because of how sad it is, but it is still a really stunning song. But The Archer, because it's track 5, because there's sadder songs on the album, there are ones that kind of stand out more to other people, like Cruel Summer, Death by a Thousand Cuts, Cornelia Street. I feel like The Archer's left behind, and I think because it's got all this momentum and it never kind of lets that momentum go properly, it doesn't have like the beat drop that a lot of people want. I think that's why it's kind of underrated. But for me, again, it's that visualness. Someone said it's like pulling back an arrow, you know, having all this momentum and then it just ends as you throw the release the arrow, and that's why I like it so much. She did remove it from the Eras Tour set list. Now, I must admit, I watched the Eras Tour film recently, and I do think the Lover set ends more smoothly, I should say, at the end of Lover rather than the end of The Archer. I think it flows better. However, I do love the Archer. I was very lucky to see the Archer on the Eras Tour set list, but I also did have it as a surprise song in London. I had it as a surprise song with You're On Your Own Kid, which was such a beautiful mashup. But yeah, I think that is why I love it so much, because it perfectly describes anxiety. I think it is such a good song to describe that. The listening to the song, it feels like the anxiety, like it feels like the breathing of anxiety, I don't know how to describe it very well, what I mean, but that is why it's so good. And I think even though it doesn't have that huge like beat drop or whatever, I think that's what makes it so beautiful, and that's what makes it. It's the they see everything, you see everything. It's so good, that repetitiveness, you know, that is what goes through someone's head with anxiety, and she's managed to put it into a song, and I think that's why I love it so much. As someone who does have anxiety, I think that's why I love it so much. Number 16, we have Forever and Always. Forever and Always has always been one of my been one of my favourites from Fearless. It's so fun. I love the performance she did on the Fearless tour with the throwing of the chair. That's iconic. It's such a good song. We obviously have like 2 versions of this. We have that version, like the fun kind of the one that's on the album, but we also have the one from the Platinum Edition, which is obviously all now on Taylor's version, the piano version of it. Both of them are so good, and I think by having a piano version of this like upbeat song, you can really fully appreciate how sad it is. So Forever and Always, if you watched any of Taylor's like old interviews from the Fearless tour, it's one that almost didn't make the album. It was the last one on the album, because the album was meant to be sent off, and then she was like, wait, can I add this one? And she added it, and I'm really glad she did, because I think it's the best one on Fearless personally. I think it's so good. I love the lyrics of it. I personally love the live performances of it even more, because she kind of with the bridge at the end, which is like back up baby back up, the live version is still the upbeat version of the song, but it's got the backup bit of the piano version, which I think is more kind of emotional. So I think the live versions are even better to me personally with this one, even though I love the song, because you're getting that upbeatness, like you're not realizing, like it feels like it's just an angry song, but then when you have this backup moment, you're like, she is really vulnerable in this moment, and I think it just adds to the song. I think you're really getting how sad this song actually is, even though it feels like it's like an angry kind of breakup song, you know, it's kind of fun. But then you really listen to it, it's like, oh, this is really sad. And she manages to do that a lot with her lyrics, and I think people don't get that. I think with Midnight's that happens. A lot of Midnight's lyrics are really sad, but because it's quite an upbeat album, you know, the synths and stuff, you know, the Jack Antonoff production, which I adore, people don't dive into it. They think because a song isn't like slow, it's not like folky, it's not like folklore or something, they don't fully appreciate the lyrics. Some of Taylor's best lyrics are for some of her more upbeat songs, and I feel like people don't talk about that enough. At number 15, we have Enchanted. This has always been one of my favourites from Speak Now, even before it went viral on TikTok. I think it is such a beautiful moment, you know, the please don't be in love with someone else. It went viral for a reason. It's because it's a stunning song. It's so beautiful. For those who don't know, Speak Now, the album, was originally supposed to be called Enchanted, because Taylor obviously does love this song. However, they did change the title to Speak Now. I personally do love the title Speak Now. I think it perfectly represents the album. I do love that they changed it, but I also love the little bit of knowledge that that's what the album was going to be called. I wish we could find that about more Taylor albums, like what they were originally going to be called, because obviously with album titles, they're always going to have like different versions of it. There'll always be like different album covers out there, and I would love to see more like concept stuff from Taylor. I would love, there are some, for films, you often get like books with like concept art in and stuff, and like what it might have been called, what the plot might have been, what the lyrics might have been, and I really would love to see that for some of Taylor's albums. I think that would be so fun. But Enchanted is just one of those songs that is beautiful. Love the fact that we got it on the Eras Tour set list. Sad we only got one song from Speak Now, like on the main Eras Tour set list, obviously minus those few dates that did, well, quite a few dates that got long live. I love Enchanted. I think the dress that she wears is very Enchanted, apart from the one that looks like it has tissue paper attached to it. That's my least favourite. But I just love that song. It's one of those, again, really beautiful ones. And it's a song like Mary's Song where it's, the visuals of it are so perfect. It describes the moment of first having like a little crush on someone so well. I think that's why like during the Fearless era and Speak Now era, people were like, Taylor Swift stole my diary. And it's because of songs like this. You know, no matter what age you are, you can relate to the feelings and emotions attached to this song. At number 14, we have Death by a Thousand Cuts. Such a good song, so upbeat, love it. I think she actually said for this, it was inspired by the film Someone Great, which is a film on Netflix if you've not seen it. I've watched some of it and then I didn't finish it because I wasn't a huge fan. But the fact that she can write the perfect heartbreak song even while in love is so good. Like, people were like, oh no, she's in love, you know, she's not gonna be able to write like a really like sad heartbreak song, and then she releases songs like Death by a Thousand Cuts when like she's obviously talking about how in love she is, and that's because she's such a talented songwriter who doesn't just need to take inspiration from her life. She can take inspiration from a film, from just seeing something, from a family member of someone she knows. Like, I think people often underestimate Taylor and think, oh well, now she's at this point in her life or whatever, she's only going to write about this, and then she's like, surprise, she can write about anything. Like, I think a lot of Taylor's songs, they don't just have one topic in it. Like, people like try say who a song is about. They're like, this song is about this person, this song is about this ex or this friend or whatever. But I think with a lot of Taylor's songs, especially like songs on the Tortured Poets, I think a lot of them aren't just about one person, but I think they're about a variety of different things, a variety of different emotions, a variety of different people. And I think part of that is purposeful. I think she does that so people can't, you know, identify who a song is about and say, oh, this song's about this person, I'm now going to create a completely false narrative about what has happened in Taylor's life because she wrote about something. Like, a lot of things she writes about are fictional. I think she adds stories, she adds stuff to it just to make it into a full complete song, but to still capture the same emotions that she felt. And yeah, that is why I love Death by a Thousand Cuts. Love the bridge of it. It's one of Taylor's best bridges. So good. I also love the Tiny Desk version of this concert. If you concert of this song. If you've not checked that out, be sure to check that out. Number 13, we have Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me is such a good song. It's so hype. If you ever need to get somewhere quickly, like say Google Maps says it's gonna take 10 minutes to get somewhere and you want to get there in 5, listen to Who's Afraid of Little Old Me and think about how Taylor performs on the Eras tour. You will be anywhere in half the time. When I tell you half the time, it's just one of those songs that just gets you going. It's so good. I wish we had the Eras Tour version on streaming. You know, sometimes the live versions of the song can really add to it, and with this, I think it really does. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? I would say the performance of the Eras Tour is my favourite Taylor performance ever. And that's saying something, because like, I love Taylor Swift. I've seen a fair few of her performances and watched videos and stuff, so I know my Taylor performances, and that one's so good. I think with the Eras Tour, when people would talk about her adding Tortured Poets, they were like, oh, it won't fit with the show, you know, how can she improve on the Eras Tour? Like, it's already so fantastic in terms of technology, but in terms of how it flows, and then she adds this song to the set list, and it's like the most impressive thing she's ever done with like the Roomba, like going through, or the Rover as they call it. I just don't think how you can top that with any other performance on the Eras Tour, but also any of her performances ever. I just think it's so good, and I think the fact we see in the Tortured Poets department set is the most recent of a Taylor concert set, if that makes sense. What is she going to do for her next tour when she eventually goes on tour again? Like, what's that going to look like? If this is what this new set looks like, what is a whole new tour gonna look like? And that is why I love Taylor Swift, because whenever you see a tour, you're like, there's no way she can improve on the last tour. Like, there's no way. Like, she just couldn't do it. Like, that tour was so good, you know. I love Taylor Swift, but that tour was a 5 out of 5. Like, it was perfect. How could she improve? And then she's like, surprise. Like, you think there's nothing that could top any of these previous tours, and then she's like, I'm gonna do a 3.5-hour show. You're like, oh, yeah, sure, of course. It's Taylor Swift, of course she will. So that is why I love that one. At number 12, we have August. August is a great song. I feel like we all know August is a great song. The bridge is good, the song is good. It's a great song. I don't really think I have to say too much more about it. Love the fact we also have like a month as a song topic, because also it's great because then you can be like, oh, when August starts, I can just listen to August. It's great. So yeah, August, it's good. I don't even know what else to say about it, that it's just a good one. We love August. And then at number 11, we have Cornelia Street. I love Cornelia Street. I think it's a stunning song. I think it's my favourite off Lover. I think Lover is such a good album. People said when it came out, oh, it's a flop album, the songs are rubbish. And I was like, I don't think we listened to the same album, because one, it was not a flop, it was a huge success, like commercially as well as with the fans, and also the songs on it are really good. But yeah, I love Cornelia Street. I personally love the live version she did from Paris even more than the album version, because like it's so good. I know I've said that for a few of these, but this one I just think is so beautiful the way she does it. it's so good. I love this song again. People were like, oh, the whole of Lover album is going to just be about being in love, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, I'm just going to tell you every single emotion about love, like every single emotion that can go into love, whether it's being in love like Lover, whether it's the love and the heartbreak of potentially losing someone you love, whether it's about loving someone but having all this anxiety about them eventually leaving. Like, if this person ever left me, I don't know what I'd do with all this love, you know, I just don't know what to do with all of that, and I don't think I could cope with it, essentially, and that's why I just love Cornelia Street. So good. And again, I think I said this with in other videos, or even in this video, I can't remember what I've already yapped about, but like, Taylor Swift songs, you can relate to them even when you're a kid. You know, I was listening to Red at 12. Do you think I could relate to a single song at Red at 12? Absolutely not. Couldn't even relate to 22 because I was 12. But you could relate those songs to your own life, whether it's not about a breakup, but about a crush on someone. Or it's not about a breakup, it's about a friendship breakup. It's about stuff with your family. It's about other things. And I think that's why Taylor's songs are so, so good. Because All Too Well is an incredibly personal song talking about our own experiences with specific references to moments in her relationship with someone. How can that song be so relatable to someone who has never experienced something like that before? They've experienced similar emotions, and I think that's the best thing, that even though she has specific details, it's so personal, it still relates to your life, and that is just why I love Taylor Swift. And I think that leads very nicely on, as I've just mentioned All Too Well, to the number 10 on my list, which is All Too Well, specifically All Too Well, the 10-minute version. All Too Well is a great song. I love the 5-minute version, I always have. It has always been a special song between us and Taylor. You know, when she wrote it and when she performed it on the Red Tour, she used to cry. Like, loads of nights you would see performances of her crying, and it was really sad. You could tell it was a very emotional song for her to perform, but the fans loved it so much that she performed it at the Grammys. This song was not a single, but she performed it at the Grammys for the fans because they were like, perform All Too Well at the Grammys, and then she was like, bet, and she did. I remember her posting about it. She did like a teaser post on Instagram before the Grammys in 2014, being like, oh, blah, 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 with a piano, and we were like, there's no way. There's no way she's actually doing this, and she did, and it is one of her most beautiful, heartbreaking performances. There's actually 2 versions you can watch of this on YouTube. So there was the performance, obviously, she did during the Grammys, but there's also the rehearsal footage you can also see. And what is really interesting about this, at least what I find interesting, is the 2 different makeup she's wearing in it. So for the rehearsal footage, she has pretty light eye makeup, but she has a red lip on. And I think in this one, you know, she looks quite vulnerable almost, like, because she's not got a lot of eye makeup on, and she just looks very sad in the performance. Like, it's really, really heartbreaking, and you get the raw emotion there of how sad this song actually is, and it's a really heartbreaking kind of version of this song. But then she performs it at the Grammys, and again, you get that sadness, but her makeup in the Grammys one, her eye makeup's really, really strong, and she's got quite a, not a very strong lip. It's quite like a subtle kind of nude lip. And the difference, you wouldn't think there could be such a huge difference in just the power of the makeup, but there is. Because her eye makeup's so strong and she's looking in the camera, especially during the more emotional and angry parts of the song, you can really see how powerful this song is, how powerful it is to her, but also how it feels to other people. Because this song isn't just a heartbreaking song, it's also an angry one. Like, there is a lot of anger in this as well, and I think you especially get that with the 10-minute version. You especially get the extra anger with those extra lyrics we got in the 10-minute version. You get more to this story she's told. You've got the discussions about how her parents felt about this person, about how the age gap, and I feel like we don't talk enough about how the age gap, and that's a big part of this story. And in the original version of the song, you don't get that kind of story and this narrative, but when you have these moments and referencing the age gap and stuff, it's like, oh, like, Taylor wrote this so young, and that is why you see this age gap kind of relationship play out in the All Too Well, the film, the little short film she did of it, and that is why I love the 10-minute version even more than the 5-minute version. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love the 5-minute version, I still enjoy it, but I love the 10-minute version so much. I love how she changed it so much with it. I just think it's so fantastic, and obviously I've gushed about this for like 10 minutes now, but it is so good, and I love the fact she then released the 10-minute version after fans had begged for it for years. And let me tell you, they begged for it for years, because she mentioned in passing once, oh, there's probably, like, if all the lyrics I wrote for All Too Well were put together, they'd probably make a 10-minute version. And then people were like, there's a 10-minute version. In my personal opinion, I don't think there was ever a full 10-minute version. I think there was enough lyrics to make a 10-minute version, but it wouldn't have been like a cohesive 10-minute version. And I think maybe this could be for some of the other Vault tracks as well, that extra lyrics were added just to make it make more sense, like just to add to it. You know, I think productions were changed, and I don't think that's her lying about anything. She never really said that these are the exact songs from back then. I think she has added and changed things to make it fit, you know, more with the times and to make it fit with the album more, because you've got to think these Vault tracks were scrapped for a reason because they didn't fit with the album. So I think she has changed things to make them fit with the album, and I think that happened with the All Too Well 10-minute version. I think certain lyrics were added. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I do believe some of them were added. I think a lot of them were probably written at the time, and this is not me saying Taylor's songwriting was not good enough at the time to write that, because I'm sure there were lots of scrapped lyrics for this like 10-minute version she originally kind of had that were even better than some of the ones that were potentially on it and then she added, because she wrote the original version when she was so young, you know, she had this songwriter ability then. I mean, Speak Now, the original version was written by herself. Like, she had that ability. I just think things were changed slightly, and that's just my own personal opinion. I could be completely wrong, but I believe that in my heart. But yeah, I feel like I've gushed enough about All Too Well, the 10-minute version. Number 9, we have You're Losing Me. You're Losing Me is such a stunning song, one of Taylor's most heartbreaking songs. I think it's forgotten about because obviously it's not on the original version of Midnights, it's not on the 3 AM version. It was obviously released with the late night edition, the CD, which is really cool to me because the late night CD actually came out for the MetLife shows, and I did go to one of the MetLife shows, so it was really cool to be able to pick this up in person because I'm a Taylor Swift CD collector, so I was like, yeah! So that was really cool. We're just going to try to put it back on my shelf. But that was really cool to get that. And it wasn't released for quite some time on streaming. It was then released, I think, November-ish time when Spotify Wrapped came out in 2023 on streaming, so a few months later. And people, I think, forgot about it. And I think because Spotify Wrapped obviously like occupies the day, people forget about it a bit. I can never forget about it. It is heartbreaking. I love this song so much. Again, the way she sings the lyrics kind of describe the way she does it. I don't know how to word this, but you know how the Archer, it feels like the anxious breathing? You get the same sort of thing with You're Losing Me, I think. I think you get that same sort of like anxious sort of breathing style when she's singing. Like, it feels like how you feel when you're kind of crying and trying to say things almost. Like just the tempo of it, I think that's what I mean. And that is why I love You're Losing Me so much. It's a beautiful, heartbreaking song and very underrated. So that's why she's in the top 10 at number 9. And number 8, we have Cardigan. It's a great song. I love Cardigan. What else can I say? I love any kind of song that talks about Peter Pan and Wendy. I think the story of Peter Pan and Wendy always goes so well in songs. I think we've obviously got Peter, we've also got Wendy by Maisie Peters. Like, there are so many songs that reference it so beautifully, and Cardigan also does that. A very heartbreaking song, a very good song. I feel like it's not talked about as much as some of the other tracks on Folklore. I think Exile and August are kind of like the fan favourites, but I feel like Cardigan is up there. Cardigan, so good. Love that it was on the set list. Love that song. Number 7, we have So Long London. Another absolutely stunning song. I loved this the second I heard it. Obviously, I do live in the UK, so I was very worried about what So Long London was going to be. I was like, maybe it means she's never coming back to the UK. Thankfully, she did for 8 nights at Wembley Stadium, all sold out. She did a pretty good job there. And I did get to see this as a surprise song, and it was so beautiful. It, again, is another really heartbreaking song. And I think sometimes some of the songs in her discography, the fact she's got different ones that kind of relate to each other, like you think she's got London Boy, this song about being in love, and then she's got this other one like So Long London. I think by having both of those in like the Taylor Swift cinematic like music universe just makes it even more heartbreaking when you listen to those songs back to back. I think it's beautiful. I think the start of it that sounds kind of like a church choir just reminds me of like the cathedrals in London. I love that song. It feels like a rainy day. It feels like walking through London on a rainy day in the best way possible, and that is why I just love that song, and it had to be in the top 10. At number 6, we have Treacherous from Red, obviously Taylor's version. Red has always been one of my favourite Taylor albums, I think, because it came out when I was 12. I feel like I just like grew up with it in my teenage years, going into my 20s and stuff. It will always be so special to me as a person. I just adore the album. I love all the songs on the album, but Treacherous for me is my favourite. I think, again, it's underrated. I know I'm saying this about all of these, even though some of them aren't underrated. I just feel like people don't get them. But with Treacherous, I think people don't fully appreciate the lyrics enough, because the lyrics in Treacherous are incredible. The lyrics in Treacherous have some of Taylor's best lyrics. I think Red as an album has some of Taylor's best lyrics, but the lyric Nothing Safe is Worth the Drive, so good. I love it. All we are is skin and bone, chained to get along. Like, I could just list off any lyric from this song and it would feel like a Tumblr lyric, you know what I mean? Like, it would feel like one of those long ones you'd see on like a Tumblr aesthetic post. I love Treacherous. Yeah, that's why she had to be in the top 10. And then we get to the top 5, woo! And we're almost at the end, no one panic. So at number 5, we have The Story of Us, my favourite song from Speak Now. I do love Speak Now, I love the fairy tale-ness of it. The Story of Us is a great song. I love the music video for it. I love that it's upbeat. It's another one of those that's upbeat, but I feel like if she ever released like a piano version of it, like Forever and Always, like release The Story of Us piano version, that would be really heartbreaking, because I feel like you don't get the loneliness in this song when you're just like, woo, because it's like, I'm standing alone in a crowded room. Who writes that at like 19? Who does that? It's such a good song. Again, one of those ones I think is underrated. And I stand by it, it's underrated. I feel like the fact we didn't get it like that much on the Eras tour, I would have loved it as a surprise song, but I was very grateful for the surprise songs I had. Don't worry. But yeah, it's such a great song. I love her. And number 4, we have Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda. This is a song I cannot believe exists. I don't even know how else to put it. I remember listening to it the first time. I sadly didn't record my reaction listening to it the first time because it was on the 3 AM version. I only recorded my reaction to the first set of Midnight songs, because when we got the 3 AM version it was like 8 AM. I was editing my original like Midnight's reaction video, not knowing what this surprise was going to be. Definitely not expecting it to be more songs. I don't think anyone was expecting that, and it was just like, oh! So I then listened to them all like there and then, and I was just like, this is the one that stuck with me. This is the one that I was like, oh. And again, same sort of thing with like London Boy, So Long London, having similar lyrics. Like Dear John has the lyric about being 19, and so does this have the lyric about being 19. Having those 2 songs just makes it all the more heartbreaking, and it just adds to this like story of like these songs. I think you could kind of group certain songs together. This isn't me like saying it's about so-and-so, because I don't necessarily believe that certain songs are about certain people, even though we think they are. Like obviously everyone has a theory about which song is about who, but like I think with some of these, she writes them about the same emotions that she went through as part of like a song, but it's not necessarily about the same person. But anyway, Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda. Give me back my girlhood, it was mine first. Who writes that? I can't believe she wrote that. I also can't believe she ever performed it live. I definitely admit I didn't think she ever would. I got to see that live. I got to scream that song live. So good. Such a good song. I feel like this one isn't underrated. I feel like people do enjoy this one because it's one of those ones that just, you listen to it, and I think the first time, the 50th time, whenever you listen to it, you're just like, whoa. Is anyone else hearing that? Like, that's how you feel when you listen to that. Top 3! At number 3, How Did It End? I have talked about this, how much I love this. I love this song. I think Torture Poets has some incredible songs on, but I think this one represents Torture Poets department the best. I also think it's a shame it wasn't on the original version of the album. Obviously, there may have been a reason that it may have not been ready for the pressing of the album, and that's why it's on this like anthology. We obviously do now have it on the anthology like vinyl and stuff. It's an incredible song. I think it sums up the album so well. When this album was announced, and when the track, specifically when the tracks came out, people were trying to say, this song is about this person, this song is about this person. She's just gone through a breakup. We all know about the breakup, you know, it was in all the magazines. I think she's going to tell us all the juicy details, and people wanted to listen to this album because they wanted the juicy details of a breakup that she didn't, like, that we didn't know a lot about, essentially. Like, we knew nothing about this breakup because it was quite private. We just knew that someone, like Taylor and her previous boyfriend had broke up. And I think even the fans were also expecting details about the breakup, wanting to know if she's okay, and I think the empathetic Hunger Descends perfectly describes that. It describes even people who love her still want to know the juicy details. They still want to know like what's going on in her life, like things like this, and they're like, thank goodness it's not me. Like, I'm glad it's you who's going through this. Like, I don't want to go through this, but like tell us like more. And I think that's why this song is so good. I think it's so good as a Taylor Swift song. And again, another one with a live version is stunning. I do love the album version though, but the live version is also stunning. So such a good song, and I think it just represents the Torture Poets department so well. And number 2, we have an Evermore song. Don't think I've forgotten Evermore. I do love Evermore. We have Right Where You Left Me. This was obviously one of the bonus tracks on Evermore. So when Evermore first came out on streaming, we didn't have this or It's Time to Go. We had to wait until the CD came out, and then we had it, and then it took a while for it to come on streaming. So I feel like it was kind of forgotten about for a bit. I could never forget her. It's again another one of those songs where the storytelling is so good you can picture a music video in your head to this song. It is incredible, and it's another one of those that doesn't have to be about a romantic relationship. It could be about a friendship breakup. It could be about a friend you no longer speak to, and then like seeing them again and like seeing how their life has changed and stuff, and how your life hasn't changed. You know, you haven't moved on from something, and you know, there are plenty of people out there who can't move on from things and stuff. You know, we've all been there, and I think this song is for those girlies. This song is for those, and that is why I will forever, forever love this song. And at number one, last but not least, we have, drum roll please. That was a terrible drum. You're on your own, kid. I love the song, what can I say? My reaction when Taylor finally sung it as one of my surprise songs at my 14th Eras Tour show, which is deeply unserious. I was so excited. It's a beautiful song. I think it should have been on the set list. I stand by that. It should have been on the set list. I would have picked it over Vigilante. I love the Vigilante performance. Obviously, I don't think she could really do You're on Your Own, Kid with the chair dancing, but it's a great song. It's one of Taylor's most hopeful track fives. So while it's heartbreaking, it's also got the element of You're on Your Own, Kid, but you can face this. And whenever I'm feeling, you know, I'm going through it, this is the song I'll listen to get me out of that funk. Because yeah, I am on my own, but you know what? I'm on my own, but also other people know what this is like. So I am on my own, but I'm also kind of not on my own. But I've also been on my own through every kind of hard thing that's ever happened in my life, and I've been able to make my way through it. So like, I can do this, and that is why I love it so much. It's such a great song. It's such a beautiful and hopeful song, and that's why it's number one on my list. And that is my top 20 Taylor Swift songs. Let me know in the comments what yours are. Obviously, I know it is very hard to rank your top 20. You can just give me your top 5 if you want, and you don't have to put them in any particular order. I know it can be hard to put them in an order. Trust me, I had to work very hard to get them in a specific order for this, but I did it. I'm very proud of myself. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful songs on this list, if I do say so myself. But yeah, Taylor Swift is a fantastic artist. If you want to see me rank more Taylor Swift things, whether it's albums, songs, if you want the full, like, 400 Taylor Swift songs ranked, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do it. I think if I did do the 400, some of them I would just have to say, like, number 31 is blah, 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 and then just move on, rather than giving a full essay for each individual one, because I feel like that video might be, like, 10 hours long, which no one needs. But yeah, I hope you've liked this video. I've loved ranking them. I love talking about kind of how I feel about these songs, what these songs make me feel, what I feel like these songs are about, you know, the emotions of the songs, all of that. So yeah, I hope you've liked this video. It's been quite a fun one and kind of a different one as well. But yeah, if you did like it, make sure to like and subscribe. That will mean the absolute world. Comment if you want to say hi and let me know what your favourites are. And as always, have a great day.